ASICS has been cooking up something really special over the last year, and they're finally ready to give media a real taste of what they've been cooking. So it's time to hop on a plane and head east, far east. This is a runner's weekend in Tokyo, Japan. Yo, what's going on? Kofuzi here, coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. I'm here with ASICS this week as they're going to be announcing multiple new racing shoes. Very excited to be able to not only test them out myself, but to see some of the ASICS pros run some fast 5Ks and 10Ks in them later in the week. I got in late last evening, was able to get some ramen, which was really lovely, but that was pretty much it. Today's my first full day, so we're gonna go for a run. Sunrise is super early here, guys. Sunrise at like 4:30, 4:40 in the morning. It's about 5 a.m. right now. I'm gonna meet up with my friend Ashley. We're gonna go for a run. This was my second time in Tokyo. The first time was a couple years ago in 2023 when I came with ASICS to run the marathon. Ashley was also on that trip, and one thing we didn't get to see up close was the Tokyo Tower. It's primarily a big antenna, so it's a functional structure, but there's also a tourist aspect to it. There are 2 levels of observation deck, and you can even try to take the stairs all the way up. None of that was open at the moment, so Ashley and I just ran around it until we found a temple next door. The Zojoji Temple is over 400 years old. And seeing it next to a giant TV tower was a pretty accurate metaphor for a lot of the necessary nuances of this city. I stopped by the Tokyo Tower and found this temple here. There's services going on inside. There's people praying, chanting in there. But I just love this spot here, the old and the new. It's incredible. All right, 7 miles in the day. Thanks for coming with me.
Anytime.
All right, guys, we just took a cab over to a shrine here that Tanner had found, or had researched. He didn't find it, but he researched it. And I think we're gonna find some cats in there. Should be fun. The Gotokuji Temple is a cat temple. You can buy a wooden prayer card, incense, or even a cat at the temple. And the idea is to leave the cat there so that a prayer or wish you make on that cat will be granted. Or you can take a cat home and set a goal for it. And when you achieve that goal, you can bring that cat back as a measure of gratitude. I bought one cat for my 8-year-old daughter, and I hope that she can come back on her own someday to return it. After the temple, we explored the surrounding neighborhood, and it felt very cozy. We stopped by the 7-Eleven for some snacks. I need some musubis. Ah, here we go. Then it was time to hop on a train and head back to meet up with the rest of the group. Normally, I'm not intimidated by public transit. I love trains. But in Tokyo, what always confuses me, other than my lack of Japanese, is that there are different tickets you need to buy for different train lines. It's not a unified system. So I'm constantly worried that I'll be buying the wrong ticket or reading the wrong map. But Tanner was able to guide us through ticket purchase and navigation, and we made it back very quickly. Whew. That's it. The plan for lunch was to go to a well-known tonkatsu restaurant, but having a large group in Tokyo is often quite difficult to manage. Most places just aren't built for groups of more than a few people. So that tonkatsu place does have fish as an option normally, but it's a busy week this week in Japan. It's a special holiday, so they are extra full and they ran out of fish. So some of the non-meat eaters, we're gonna find something else to eat. Maybe ramen? I can go for ramen. Lunch was at a quick ramen spot. It was full of sweaty dudes and I think open 24 hours. The ramen was just okay, but I wasn't too worried about it because we'd be spending the afternoon hitting the shops of Harajuku. Atmos is a Harajuku-born streetwear boutique. They carry a lot of brands, they collab with a lot of brands, and they had a lot of stuff that I just never seen before.
Baby, would you lie down?
Next, we visited the ASICS flagship. I didn't really have anything specific that I was looking for at any of these shops, but I did keep a bit of an eye out for anything that looked like it could be a Japan or Tokyo exclusive. I think these are the ones that John Career wore. He had ones like this color, but I don't remember having pockets in the back, but it looks like it.
Toe socks from ASICS.
I didn't know they made them. Down the street was the Adidas flagship. It wasn't too different than the Berlin flagship I had visited, but they did have some special Tokyo items. Onitsuka Tiger is a cooler older sister to the sporty ASICS younger sibling. It's a luxury fashion brand that retains some of its athletic roots. And I already had a pair of the Kill Bill Mexico 66s, but I'm really regretting that I didn't pick up this other pair of retros. The color work was immaculate. The last time I was in Tokyo, Thomas was smitten by the Japanese North Face offerings, so I had to stop back in that store again. There's a lot here that looks amazing, but I'm not so much the outdoorsy type, so a lot of this is lost on me. Cat Street is another well-known part of Harajuku. There's an on-store that is so busy that you have to make an appointment to visit. We didn't have an appointment. And I don't think I've ever been to a Puma store before, but the one on Cat Street sets the bar pretty high. And then what trip to Harajuku would be complete without stopping by Kith to walk through the Air Force One Arch? There are shoes here that are wilder than my imagination, and they're definitely not for me. What are these? All right, guys, we're all pretty much running out of gas here, but we're gonna make one last stop, try and find the candied grapes and candied strawberries. Hopefully the line's not too long. This is what I came on the street for. Strawberry fetish. I got grapes and strawberries this time. Wiggle wiggle dot zip. For dinner, ASICS rented out an entire restaurant where the beer flowed like wine. All the media groups got together, Asia, Europe, North America, and we had some small plates. ASICS welcomed us with some kind words, and I may have challenged European media to a team race at the end of the week. Good morning. It is a little bit after 7-something a.m. here on I think it's Friday in Tokyo with Ashley. We're gonna go for a run, test out some new shoes. Just stopped by a temple that we happened to find. Gorgeous in there. Now we're getting some miles. The temple we stumbled across was the Toyokawa Inari Betsuin Temple, which I thought was a temple of the dog and a stunning counterbalance to the cat temple we'd visited the day before. But these are foxes, which are considered messengers of the god of rice and agriculture, Inari. Taking a little detour by the Imperial Palace. No running allowed over here. I got yelled at last time I was in Tokyo. Now they have signs up, which is very helpful. Let's see if we can get a good view. For the run, Ashley and I were taking the Metaspeed Sky in Tokyo for a test run. We were hoping to find some water views along Tokyo Bay as a backdrop, but I got us a bit lost and then we ran out of time. So we had to call it a day and start heading over to meet up with the rest of the group for a yoga session. Yoga started out lovely, but then it started to rain. A lot. And for some reason, outside yoga kept going though. Are we walking back? How are we going back? Are we really? After about a 30-minute bus ride, we are here for the product reveal slash launch. It's raining. I think this is an outside event, so it should be interesting. So it does look like it is covered in here, so at least we're not getting wet. But this is a pretty impressive setup. They got multiple cameras, big stage, lots of chairs. Everyone from the running world is here. I'm looking forward to the presentation. The press event was the formal announcement of 3 new shoes from ASICS: the Metaspeed Sky, the Metaspeed Edge, and the Metaspeed Ray. There's a new foam, FF Leap. It's an aliphatic TPU layer that is really light and really fast, but it's also highly cushioned. For years, I got the impression from ASICS that they didn't want us thinking about the Sky versus Edge as forefoot versus heel striker shoes. But this presentation was the most explicit adoption of this approach that I've seen from the brand itself.
They also naturally tend to be more forefoot runners.
The Metaspeed Ray is 100% FF Leap, which makes it incredibly light. And it's got a unique teardrop-shaped plate, so it's not full-length carbon. Ailish McColgan, fresh off her marathon debut in London and her engagement in Mount Fuji, was there. Olympic marathon silver medalist Bashir Abdi was there, as was 2023 Sydney Marathon champion Betsy Sena. After the main presentation, media had a chance for a brief one-on-one with the athletes, although you kind of had to stay in your region. Brits interviewed Ailish, Europeans interviewed Bashir, and Americans like me got to interview Betsy. I've posted this conversation that I had with her in full over on the Kofuzi Run Club channel, and a link to that is in the description below if you'd like to hear about her thoughts on not only the rest of 2025, but her plans on getting to LA 2028. After interviews, it was time to learn more about the products. We saw a history of Metaspeed so we could see the progression from the initial version, which also did happen to say Tokyo on the side, to the latest gen. And as far as the main takeaway from Sky and Edge Tokyo are concerned, for me it's that the shoes are now more different than ever, at least on paper. I've only tested the Sky and not the Edge yet, so I can't fully comment. But while they maintain the same plate position and foam distribution across the Sky versus Edge, Sky runners will get more FF Leap foam and Edge runners will get more FF Turbo Plus foam. And whether your foot is closer to the FF Leap layer or the FF Turbo Plus layer will also depend on which shoe you're in. I look forward to testing these new differences at length once I get back to Crystal Lake. For the Ray, this was a shoe that I had tested an early prototype before, so I had a pretty good sense already as to what this shoe was all about. But 2 new key facts for me were that 1, ASICS had done their durability testing to 300 kilometers in this shoe, and 2, even though the Ray isn't specifically a Sky or Edge type of shoe, it was developed using the Sky as the starting point. Alright guys, that's it from the press conference and the media event. Now, we are going to do something that I never dreamed I would do in Japan. I'm almost excited for this as I am for the shoes. I can't wait. This is the restaurant from Kill Bill. We're here. When I saw on the itinerary that we'd be eating at the Kill Bill restaurant, I was incredibly excited. I'm a big fan of the movie and the callback to Game of Death. And I've been trying to convince ASICS for years to release a Kill Bill Metaspeed, and they've always shied away from it because the movie is just so violent. But now that the Metaspeed was on display here in this restaurant, I'm hoping that this is a signal that maybe, just maybe, there's a chance. And by the way, the food for the evening was quite good. I did try the Wagyu. It was my first time eating Wagyu beef. And the evening ended with a performance on the drums. Good morning. It is about 5:30 a.m. here in Tokyo on a Saturday, last day in Japan. Been up for about 2 hours already. The jet lag is still weird, which is fine. I'm leaving tomorrow morning anyway, but I'm really hungry. It's another hour and a half until breakfast, so I think what I'm gonna do now with the time is go hit a konbini. Let's go to Lawsons. Korean grocery stores have these kind of pastries too. They're very sweet. They are very delicate, airy pieces of bread. Sometimes there's meat inside them. Sometimes there's kind of Asian sweets, like a red bean paste in them that's supposed to be dessert-like, but not really all that sweet. And sometimes there's regular, I guess, Western style fillings in them. I ended up picking up one that had a cheese Danish style cheese inside. Next, I wanted to get myself a drink, something that I could have right before the race, something that would be different and exciting. I was looking for Pocari Sweat, couldn't see it right away, so instead, I elected for something old school. I'm pretty sure this is Bakusti, but I think in Japan they don't call it Bakusti. Real ones will know what this is. Next, it was time for some chips. I knew later in the evening after the race, coming back home from a night out in Tokyo, I'd want some salty, savory, crunchy snacks. So I went for a bag of these, which I'm pretty sure I knew what they would taste like, and then a bag of these, which I had no idea what was going to be inside. Then it was time to find some prepared foods, something that I wanted to eat right away. I was not brave enough to try the cream and strawberry sandwiches. Those always just look really weird to me. So instead I went for a tuna and egg salad sandwich. And then of course I had to find a musubi. I had one of these yesterday that was pretty good. And then some of these looked a little too fancy for me. So I went with I think salmon and mayonnaise musubi for today. And then down this aisle, there was lots of whiskey. It's Suntory time somewhere. At this point, I regretted not picking up a shopping basket, but I only needed to get one more thing, some sweet snacks, because I thought those would be really nice on my very early morning trip to the airport. Shopping trip complete. I got some stuff for this morning and some snacks for later and possibly also tomorrow morning before my flight. We are at a temple now. for some meditation time. This Zen temple was an oasis of calm that very reasonably requested that we don't film the session. It was 2 15-minute rounds of uncomfortable sitting and soporific silence. On the second round, the monk would go to each person and, with their consent, the monk would whack them twice, very hard, almost shockingly hard, on each shoulder. If it weren't so serious, it could have been quite funny. I love the idea of Zen meditation, but I think my mind is too cluttered and my attention span too short to enjoy it. After the meditation session, it was time to sit down for short interviews with the pro athletes. I'd never interviewed an athlete on the same day as their race before, so I hoped that my time with them was reasonably short. I asked them about which shoes they'd be racing in, which shoes they trained in most frequently, and what their plans were for summer and fall racing seasons. And of course, I couldn't let them go without playing a little game. Before we end, let's play a game. Do you want to play a game?
I love that.
Okay,
Love
so
games.
all of you athletes that are here have been taking fantastic photos in the new team kit, and you've been posting those images to your Instagram. So we're gonna play a game called Whose Comment Is It? I'll give you 3 names
Okay.
to guess whose comment is it.
This
okay?
is especially good because I have not gone back and looked at the comments.
Okay, perfect. So here's the 3 people.
Yeah.
Sam Long,
Okay.
Sarah Hall,
Okay.
and Kira D'Amato.
Okay.
Who wrote this? Yes, exclamation point, good luck, exclamation point, sparkle emoji, heart emoji,
that's Sarah.
Japanese flag emoji.
Sarah. Sarah. I know Sarah.
Okay, yeah.
Really, like, that's Sarah.
Ashley and I finished our interviews for today. Now we're gonna grab some lunch at the fish market. I'm having an omelet skewer, and then our roll will come out soon. It's a weird situation, but they can't give us Metaspeed Ray yet, not all of us. So we each get like a small window of time to do some testing. So we've got the shoes on. Ashley's going to in her Stormtrooper whites. Looks good. We're going to see what these shoes can do. I've mentioned this on other press trips, but I generally don't like to give away too many thoughts about the shoes I'm testing while I'm still on the press trip. So far, I will say that the shoes are very fun, very fast, and I look forward to more testing at home. Okay. All right, make it look good. Your PT's watching. Yeah. Hey!
Must be kofuzi.
I am Kofuzi.
Oh,
How's it going? How are you?
pretty good. You see it?
Yeah, of course. Watch out, watch out.
Oh man, that'd be so. Thank you.
After shoe testing, it was time to get ready for the People's Race. And it's a long story, but I wasn't able to race in any of the newly announced race product. I did find some of that sweet Pocari sweat, though, to have pre-race. How you feeling?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, how you feeling after London?
My legs are still a little bit sore. I
Yeah.
think they'll catch up with me towards the end of
Yeah,
the race, but
yeah.
I'll go off quick and then I'll die a death from.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll catch you, but
Yeah.
I'll see you at the finish.
Yeah, definitely. Have a good one.
I suspected that this race would have a lot of very fast Japanese runners signed up, so when ASICS marched the media up to the front of the first wave, I was nervous. All right, guys, there's like a lot of fast runners here. I'm trying to figure out how to stay out of the way as much as possible. And so after a lot of words in Japanese I didn't understand, we were off. Guys, we're getting started. Tokyo Speed Race 5K. A lot of fast runners here. The race started out fast, just as I had expected, But there were a lot more people running in that just under 20-minute 5K pace with me than I had thought.
I crossed the 1 mile mark under 20-minute pace.
For this race, I brought the Metaspeed Edge Paris with me. It's a shoe that doesn't really work for me as a marathon shoe, but that works great for Via 2 Max work.
What's up, Randy Japan? Just crossed 2 mile mark, about 12:45, 12:50, I think.
The first mile clicked over quite quickly, but the second mile seemed to drag on forever. The third mile kind of snuck up on me, and then it was time to head down to the finish. I crossed the line in 19:29, which I was quite pleased with for this somewhat humid night at the end of an eventful few days in Tokyo, and it was nice to bask in the sunset and afterglow of a hard-run race. But soon, it was time to get in position to watch the pro race.
All right, race complete. Now we're gonna go watch the elite 5K start.
There would be 2 pro races that night, a 5K and a 10K. Drew Hunter was the only American in the 5K race, and hometown favorite Tomoki Ota was making an attempt at the Japanese 5K record.
Those athletes came in fast and they were all bunched up. Now, I'm gonna head back over to the start. I gotta find, where does the 10K start? I gotta find that. Get ready for the next race. It starts in just a couple minutes.
The 10K was pretty much right after the 5K, and all the rest of the Americans were in that race. I knew from the interviews earlier in the day that there would be 2 American record attempts that night. Bia was looking to run 27:30, and Emma Grace was looking to break the American women's 10K record of 30:52 held by Shalane Flanagan. Bia was on the blue pace lights, which is something I'd never seen on roads before, but was possible on this slightly longer than 1 mile loop. And Emma Grace was on the red lights. Bia crossed the line in 27:32, and for some reason, I thought the American record was 27:30. So when Bia came over to me right after the finish and asked whether he got it, I didn't want to be the bearer of bad news. So I told him that I wasn't sure, but I thought it was really close. Turns out he beat the American record, which had stood for 40 years, by over 15 seconds. Soon after, Emma Grace came charging down the finishing chute, and we all cheered her in as we knew she was very close. But with a finishing time of 31 minutes even, Emma Grace was just a few paces off from claiming that AR. Once we learned that Bia did in fact get the American record, I had a chance to speak with him for a few moments post-race. I felt like Bia has been flying under the radar for far too long, and I was happy to be making sure that even though he was racing half a world away, he was still getting some attention from American media. This was the second one of these ASICS race weekends that I've attended. The first was in Malaga, Spain for the unveiling of Metaspeed Sky and Edge Plus. It was only 3 years ago, but it feels so much longer ago than that. That was the first time I met McKenna Myler and Ailish McColgan. It was the first time I met Ben Felton and the Run Testers. And since then, I've found that in this business, you end up working with the same people over and over and over again. And there's something about that that's really comforting.